Overnight in the UK, the funeral plans for Her Majesty were released. The symbolism involved with almost every aspect, the detail, the meticulous planning. I'll go through various elements that struck me as I read through the plans with a whole lot of experts who'll help us understand the meaning of things a little later in the show. What we do know now is this is the first state funeral in over 57 years in Britain, so we will see ceremony on a scale rarely witnessed here or anywhere in the world. Heads of state, heads of government are already starting to arrive. In fact, the numbers here are staggering. Nearly 500 dignitaries from around the world are set to descend on London in one of the largest diplomatic moments of the century. World leaders will join members of the royal family at Westminster Abbey, which can hold around 2,000 people. The heads of state of all countries with which the UK has full diplomatic relations have been invited to the funeral. Only 3 national governments have been banned from attending: Russia, Belarus and Myanmar. But China's in. Now, some Tory MPs, like former leader Ian Duncan-Smith, have questioned why China has been handed an invitation at all amid ongoing strained relations between the two companies, claiming, he says, it's evidence of Project Kowtow all over again. Duncan-Smith said it was astonishing the Chinese representatives had been invited, and he asked how can they ban Belarus, Russia and Myanmar and not say no to China. Now, I'd say here it'd be an extraordinary move to ban China in diplomatic terms. I mean, Russia's at war with the West. Myanmar, or Burma, as you'll know it at home, is now under the control of a military junta. I think it's the right move for this funeral to remain above politics, as the Queen herself did. But it does highlight the complexity of burying the world's most important monarch. For many, mourning the Queen is personal, but what we are seeing now is a grand political and diplomatic occasion. And plenty of politics too, we'll get to that in the show, playing around the margins here, but particularly at home in Australia. And later in the show, I'll bring you the latest out of last night's Q&A program, a new low even for the ABC. But back to events here. Last night, the new Prince and Princess of Wales and the Duke and Duchess of Wessex were out and about meeting crowds, and some wonderful interactions as they chatted to people. This is where the royal family's really come into its own this week. Take a look at the future King of England with these children.
Paddington one, I saw that as well. Did you guys draw that?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Paddington. Yeah, do you like Paddington? Yeah. Did you see the skit with Paddington and my grandmother?
Yeah. That was nice.
Inspiring everyone.
Yeah. Did you all wonder what she'd have in her handbag? No one ever knows what was in her handbag. Paddington did that.
It's worth considering that skit for a moment, isn't it? I mean, the Queen filmed it in all likelihood, knowing she wasn't well and that time was ebbing away. But it's now given her memory a connection with a whole generation of children that will remember the Queen for their entire lives. So touching and clever, and as I said, I suspect very carefully, very deliberately done, a bit of a PR masterstroke. As we go to where the queue at Westminster Hall to pay tribute to the Queen is 7 kilometres long, with people in line for around 11 hours. Here's just one of them, a man named Philip, lining up to see the Queen's coffin, who shares a birthday with King Charles. He was interviewed by Sky UK. Have a look at what he took with him to the hall.
Knowing that you share a 60th birthday with me on the 14th of November 1948 is a very good vintage. This is from Charles, King Charles now. I wanted to send you my warmest and most heartfelt congratulations.
It's so touching, these stories, the atmosphere, the sense of occasion. It's a privilege to be here for you in London.